Let's consider the main elements of screw jack. First element we should see here, this is a cap. It is a place where the load force is applied. It looks like this. There are many variants which may be, it's one of them. Next element, it's a bearing. Here you see the ball bearing, thrust ball bearing, which provides rotation of the screw relatively to the fixed cap and transmits external axial force from the cap to the screw. In such case, when placed here, because here may be not only ball bearing, it may be sliding bearings. And sometimes it's placed in another place, I show you later. Next element you see here is a stopper, this element. It's a wire which has specific form to avoid disassembly of cap during operation. Next element is this power screw. This power screw, it converts rotational motion into linear together with a nut. It transmits to the nut and the external axial force from the bearing and the driving torque from the handle. Next element is a handle. Handle, it is a place where the driving force is applied. Here, and it creates force which turn screw around this axis, about this axis. When we rotate the nut by means of handle, screw moves up or down, depends on rotational direction we need. Next element, this is a nut. Nut is usually is a cylinder with thread on inner surface. And this hole we use to fix nut into the frame. Then frame or case this element. It unites all elements in one mechanism, transmits the external axial force and driving torque from the nut to the base. Base may be here anything which fix frame on its position. And here is a pin. It's one variant, it's maybe another variant. It's a pin which is placed between nut and frame and in such way we avoid rotation of the nut into the frame. Then this element is a stopper. It prevents complete unscrewing of the screw. because if we miss end of screw, it may be dangerous situation when screw will be unscrewing from the nut. So we should fix it in highest position. This is a stopper. Also, we have a lot of variants how to fix it, how to make it. So the simplest one may be if we move it up in this position, stopper, fixed, screw, and don't give a motion up. Here, pin I shown you. Bearing, screw, and so on. So such modification may be used for lifting of big weight, much higher weight that human can make it. Next variant of screw jack is a jack with rotating nut. So to rotate a nut, we use a specific element. This is it's named like sleeve. And on this element we use bearing instead of this position, it placed here. So when we rotate sleeve by means of handle, we rotate ring of the bearing. Here you see also so-called thrust ball bearing, and this ring rotates. This ring is fixed on a frame, and together with the sleeve, nut also rotates, and motion up or down without motion here. So we have contact between cap and screw, and we don't have motion here. The same like in previous variant. You see the stopper, and to avoid disassemble sleeve from frame, we should use spring washer. And in such case, it operates like show you later, but we pay attention that to move screw up or down, we should fix it to avoid torque moment up to the moment when cap surface touches weight we need to move up. mechanism which use screw nut pair is a bearing remover, sometimes named like puller. It operates like this. And consists of the same elements: handle, screw, frame, pin. Here we have foot and bearing, small bearing into this foot. But difference is handle and point of force application are on different sides of frame. And second specific feature is arms or grips, which we use to dismount bearing like this. Thrust ball bearing, screw, and this element is adapter to make correct connection between bearing and screw. In a case when a screw has a hole, and we should take into account that we can't place bearing immediately on screw. Pay attention that in such case when we have tuning arms, the axis of the pins here, and one more should be in one line with the middle of surface which contact with the bearing. Sometimes maybe 3 arms, sometimes maybe 2 arms. And one more mechanism is a press. Press looks like a bearing remover, but frame is much bigger and has a table with a hole to make specific bending operations, or maybe used like bearing remover when we need to press into this whole shaft or something else. The same, we have a handle, screw, nut, this blue is nut, pin, and foot with a ball, thrust ball bearing. The same like in bearing remover.